Step into the arena of debate where no opinion goes unchecked. Are you prepared to question everything and break down the biggest arguments? Join us as we tackle the most contentious issues head-on.
So there's a lot there. The first thing I want to mention, just before I forget, you mentioned reparations, for example. It is true that there's never been a program that has specifically said, here is a cash voucher for the experience of your ancestors during slavery. However, if you look at who pays the most into the tax system in this country, historically, it has been white Americans and also Asian Americans. And excuse me, and if you look, I know, we got to go one at a time though. And if you look at who has taken more out of the system, it has been black Americans. And we've spent over $1 trillion since the 1960s on the war on poverty, which disproportionately has gone to black Americans. So in a way, that has been reparation.
He delivers a compelling lesson on history when challenged on why black people have not received reparations, laying down the facts without missing a beat.
We're all immigrants, so this country is built by immigrant people.
I disagree. Do you mind if I explain why? Sure. I would say I disagree because the country wasn't built by people immigrating to a country that was already established. It was built by settlers that established the country in which they intended to reside.
Defending settler colonialism?
Absolutely. Manifest destiny? You know, what's wrong with that? I mean, this is the result of that.
That's right. Yeah. You got your choice to talk, of course.
This is why we need cars.
A wokie absurdly suggests a firing squad for those denying America's immigrant-built heritage. Talk about missing the lessons on freedom of speech.
If I don't believe that black people are human, do I have the right to go out and hurt them?
No, because it's like...
No, because opinions and feelings don't determine personhood, and they don't determine if they can be committed against with acts of violence. That's your opinion, and your feeling does not determine if you can kill somebody.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Do you see where I'm coming from?
I do see where you're coming from.
A pro-wokie falters under a well-crafted argument. It's crucial to have both sides of the story, especially on such a sensitive topic.
Learned going to different religious schools is that
Jewish schools?
Just synagogues, temples. I've tried and experienced different religions. They said that the original text said Adam and Eve as in one being, one.
Well, man, yeah, man. So in the earliest chapters of Genesis, you have the creation of man in Adam. And then Eve is created from Adam's rib, but she would be the other. What you're citing is this line that a lot of people who are pro-transgender will say, which is, actually in some Native American tribe that I can't quite name right now, I'm sure they believe in a third and a fourth and a fifth gender, but that just isn't true. That is that's been made up by white liberals.
You know the movie Mulan, Disney Mulan?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Mulan,
yeah.
Dresses as a man, right, goes to war. That's based off of true history.
Oh yes, cross-dressing has occurred in
history. Not just cross-dressing, but people who
in
went
Mulan, did the female character think she was a man?
No.
Oh, okay.
He counters the claim that Adam and Eve were transgender with a factual clarification. It's about getting the history right, not rewriting it.
Why is it my business if somebody identifies as a woman or not?
Well, because right now women are allowed to have their own bathrooms, and if a man is allowed to identify as a woman in public, women are not allowed to have their own bathrooms.
Do you know a man can just walk into the bathroom at any time, right?
But he'll be arrested in a normal society. In our society, he could sue if he were kicked out of the women's bathroom.
Faced with the argument over accepting self-identified genders, he responds with sharp logic. Understanding doesn't mean abandoning critical thinking.
Are you for biological male who identify as female to compete in the women's sports?
I don't think I know enough about the whole thing to say anything useful right here, and I don't want to put my foot in my mouth.
To me, it's like a trans woman is a woman, and if she has the criteria to do what she needs to do to compete, by all means, it doesn't bother me.
You don't believe that men have a physical benefit on a woman?
Oh, I've seen some cis women that are much stronger than cis men, so it has nothing to do with it.
If it's not much of a big deal, women can also just take steroids, so they can be the same. You can always make it equivalent, so it's not that much of a big deal.
It's not as simple as male-female.
But do you agree there is a difference of physical benefit in between male and female?
I think debates heat up around trans women in women's sports. The suggestion that steroids could level the playing field misses the broader implications.
We're talking about bringing in 10 million illegal immigrants could affect low-wage earners and the working class, disproportionately black community, brown community. Do you think that this would help those inner city communities that are struggling for higher wages?
No, bringing inner city, no, that's really hate mongering right there. They're taking jobs away from inner city kids. That's really promoting hate mongering, what you're doing right now. And that's totally.
Isn't that just basic supply and demand?
No, it's totally hate mongering.
What is hateful about saying that is affecting low-wage earner jobs?
Bad guy taking jobs away from the poor. That's what you just did.
Right.
I'm no fool.
Because that's the jobs that they would take. They wouldn't take maybe our jobs.
When accusations of hate-mongering fly over discussions on immigration's impact on wages, it's clear that emotions often cloud economic realities.
That's a good job that people like.
Have you ever used Amazon?
No, I actually,
Never.
no, I don't buy from them.
You use Starbucks.
Okay.
So Starbucks, that's a billionaire. You know how rich Howard Schultz is? He's worth $5 billion. So you're participating in his exploitation.
Starbucks has better working conditions for their employees, though.
Well, how do you know that?
Because they have like a $15 minimum wage.
Wait, so Starbucks billionaire good, Amazon billionaire bad. Just so we're sure.
I would not like either of them to be billionaires.
Then why are you buying Starbucks? You're participating in the market economy.
Well, it's impossible to buy things without participating in the market economy.
You could have went to a farmer's market. You could have bought something outside.
There's no farmer's market here.
There's no local coffee in Columbus at all.
No, not near my house.
There's no non-billionaire coffee distributors.
No, and I think that just
you could have gotten local. Huh? You could have gone That Guy Donuts. They don't serve Starbucks coffee. The point is, it's very easy to critique billionaires while you swish your Starbucks latte back and forth. Made possible by a guy that wanted to become a billionaire. Why? Because of
Charlie Kirk dismantles a socialist student's argument with undeniable logic. It's not just about ideals, it's about practical outcomes.
Obama deserved the award when he won.
Yeah, he does. I feel like he actually wanted to make change instead of just sitting around.
Like what changed in your mind?
I don't know. I have to look at that more.
I would be really frustrated if he got a Nobel Peace Prize. I feel like Obama was a really great diplomat, and Trump has really staked a career on not doing that.
Got it. And what do you think Obama did to deserve it in 2009?
I mean, I'm forgetting exactly what the political events were at the time. I was in high school back then, and so...
Wokies applaud Obama's Nobel Prize without understanding why he received it. A little homework goes a long way in informed discussions.
To be caught up in the riots, then leave. But when the riots specifically shout Black Lives Matter, they shout the names of addicts and felons and people who have attempted to murder people. I don't think it's a peaceful movement. I don't. When you actively assault police officers in your protests and your riots, and we can stop pretending like they're peaceful at this point. It's been over 100 days, and this has happened. You're going to go up to a business owner or an apartment complex owner, someone who had their lives burned down in the cities, someone who has had their business burnt to the ground, and you're going to say, listen, okay, yeah, this is bad. You might be poor now. You don't have anything left to show your life's work, but only 7% are violent. So most of us are good. It doesn't matter.
He challenges the narrative by revealing that only a small fraction of BLM protests turn violent. Spotlighting the majority can shift perceptions.
Actually very important. Why on earth would BLM suddenly attack the statue of a 17th century slave trader? You know, if you're genuinely concerned about black lives, you'll be protesting the fact that 7 in every 1,000 Africans today is living in slavery. 10 million people. So where were the protests? Where were the protests outside the Nigerian High Commission? Where were the protests outside the embassies of Sudan and Chad? Exactly. Let me finish, please, and go on. And also, it's also the hypocrisy here, because the same people who are calling for Coulson statue to be toppled are the same ones celebrating and revering the Benin bronzes, for example. The Benin bronzes were commissioned by and commemorate African slave owners, the most brutal slave owners in the world, and yet somehow those are to be celebrated, whereas Coulson has to be demolished. And you know, we had that film The Woman King out recently, another film celebrated by BLM, yet that celebrates the warriors of the Dahomey Kingdom, the most brutal slave-owning state in the world history.
He confronts a BLM advocate with facts about their actions versus their ideals. Consistency is key in any movement.
But you accept that misinformation can be dangerous, that it can cause real-world harms, that it can potentially cause...
Yeah, so the point I'm trying to make is that the BBC itself has, at times, published things that are false. Do you agree that that has occurred?
I'm quite sure the BBC have said things before that turn out to not be true.
Right.
In its, whatever it is, 100-year history, I'm quite sure.
Yes. Even if you aspire to be accurate, there are times when you will not be.
We've spoken to people very recently who were involved in moderation, and they just say there's not enough people to police this stuff, particularly around hate speech in the company. Is that
what hate
you
speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter.
Right.
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
but just a personal anecdote. Like, what do you? I don't.
Personally, for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content. Yeah, personally, but I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
You see more hate.
Elon Musk puts a BBC reporter in check over misinformation. When it comes to facts, there's no room for error.
Want to catch wokey moments in 4K? Watch till the end, subscribe, like the video, and comment wokies for a chance to win a brand new iPhone 16 or a cash prize. Also, don't forget to check out the next video on the end screen for more chances to win.
Encourage you to behave as a man is what I would do, because you are a man, and I don't know how exactly you came to the point where you think you're a woman or very much would like to be a woman, but you aren't. And I don't think anyone who is affirming your delusion is helping you. I don't think that they're actually an ally of yours. I think they're lying to you, and I think it's very disrespectful, and I think it will not lead to your flourishing. I think it will only immiserate you. And so you might hate me for telling you the truth, but I think the truth will set you free. And furthermore, your masquerading as a woman does infringe on the legitimate rights of other people, the rights of women to have their own bathrooms. I don't know if you're an athlete. I'm not much of an athlete myself, but the rights of women to have their own sports leagues and the like. That is not something that you have a right to do, no matter how sincerely you believe the fantasy.
He confronts a transgender person's delusions with straightforward reasoning. Reality checks are sometimes necessary.
Aside. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you are
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you, or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot
I
just in
know,
this exchange.
absolutely.
Extraordinary.
A pro-trans advocate is stumped when questioned if men can get pregnant. Biological facts aren't up for debate.
Can you define what an assault weapon is?
It is a military-style weapon that was originally designed to be used in the military, but is now designed to, I believe, just resemble some aspects of what they would use in the military.
Can you define, just sort of expound on what military style is?
So it would probably be made out of like a different material, like something black, and it would have maybe more expressed features, like the trigger might be larger, or the pad that you rest here might be larger. It could have like those rings around the barrel that like a normal like 12-gauge rifle would have, or a 12-gauge shotgun would have.
An anti-gun student struggles to define assault weapon and flounders on military-grade specifics. Knowledge is power, especially in gun control debates.
What do you eat?
I eat...
do you eat almonds? Do you drink almond milk? Eat almonds?
I think you're digressing from the big issue.
I'm just curious what you eat. Do you eat almonds?
I'm here to talk about the climate crisis.
Answer my question. Do you eat almonds or drink almond milk?
30 million people in Pakistan.
Do you drink almond milk?
Have been affected by severe floods.
Do you drink almond milk?
I drink plant-based milk.
You do. And do you eat avocados?
I eat a plant-based diet.
Do you eat avocados?
We're asking the government.
Do you eat avocados? Yes?
A leading study from...
Do you... It's an interview. You don't just answer different questions. Do you eat avocados?
I eat a plant-based diet, which
Do you eat avocados?
Yes.
Yes? You do? Great. Do you know how avocados and almonds get made?
Absolutely.
You do?
Yes.
So you realise that in California, every year, for 6 weeks, they fly in billions of bees to create your almonds and avocados, and in that process, several billion...
He educates a vegan protester on the complexities of a vegan diet impacting the environment. Dietary choices are personal, but let's get the facts straight.
But anyway, I'm glad you guys are out here. So you'll be protesting me. I wish you guys would come in, though, and have a conversation.
Maybe we'll make our way in there. Yeah.
That would be wonderful.
I'd love to disrupt it, yeah.
Disrupt it?
Yes, absolutely.
Why would you like to disrupt and not have a dialogue?
Because this is America. We can do whatever the we want. It's our
No, of course you have the right to be wrong and you have the right to be a jerk, but why would you choose to be one?
No, because I think you're a transphobic piece of shit, and I would love to disrupt your media.
Transphobic. So do you think I fear people that think they're women or think they're...
His response to disruptions at his speech? Sarcastic, why choose to be a jerk? Sometimes humor is the best way to highlight absurdity. For more wokey videos, click on the screen right now.